Unpaid education loans block future scholarships. A high-profile murder case is ordered to a retrial, and there will be sweeping financial cuts across the board in government. We've got those stories and others. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. College hopefuls looking for assistance from the government are fresh out of luck. This, according to Education Minister Jeff Lloyd. Scores of scholarship applicants will be turned away by the Ministry of Education in the coming weeks as the Minnis administration continues its push to cut government expenses amidst the country's dire financial outlook. Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd disclosed this during a recent interview with the Tribune. According to Mr. Lloyd, officials had hoped to recover some of the $156 million owed in delinquent student loans to aid its scholarship programs until the government was in a better financial position to fund the initiatives. Last month, the South Beach MP during the 2017-2018 budget debate warned those owing the Education Loan Authority ELA to pay up or face grief. The loan program was established in 2000 to assist persons pursuing tertiary education either locally or abroad. However, it was suspended in August 2009 during its high delinquency rate. When contacted by the Tribune over the weekend for an update on the situation, the South Beach MP indicated his ministry has commenced the dissemination of written requests to more than 4,600 former recipients requesting some form of repayment. Similar letters were issued during the Christie administration. Opposition leader Philip Brave Davis wrote a strongly worded letter to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis last week regarding criminal probes into Progressive Liberal Party politicians, warning, when you set out to dig a grave for your enemy, dig two. The letter, which was written on July 18th and has since been leaked to the press, highlights Mr. Davis's frustrations with the Royal Bahamas Police Force's anti-corruption investigations. Calling investigations like the one into former Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly Dion Smith an abuse of power, Mr. Davis warned when such abuses of power occur, the offending parties, be they the police or politicians, need to understand that there will come a day of reckoning for them as well. What goes around comes around. And let me hasten to add that that is not a threat. It is an immutable law of the moral universe, one that is sometimes expressed in these words: when you set out to dig a grave for your enemy, dig two. Those who are committing these abuses should therefore understand they cannot do so with impunity. To use your own words, where you do wrong and abuse your position, there are consequences. Mr. Davis wrote that while he believes crimes should be investigated when reasonably suspected, exonerating information should be taken into account during investigations. A woman previously convicted of stabbing her husband to death was ordered to a retrial this week. The Court of Appeal on Tuesday ordered a retrial for Donna Vasili, who was convicted of the 2015 stabbing death of her millionaire husband. Vasili, 56, made a return appearance before the Court of Appeal a year after her substantive hearing on her challenge to the jury's verdict concerning the March 24, 2015 murder of her Australian podiatrist husband, Philip Vasili. Vasili's lead lawyer, Claire Montgomery QC, previously argued last July, among other grounds for appeal, that the absence of evidence of her client's good character during trial might have negatively influenced the jury's unanimous guilty verdict against her. She said her client was denied the benefit of having evidence of her good character presented prior to her conviction, which she said amounted to breach of duty on the part of counsel for the accused. National Security Minister Marvin Dame said Monday the Minnis administration will push for the death penalty to be enforced in an effort to reduce the violent crime in the country. In an interview with the Tribune, Mr. Dame said the Free National Movement will use everything on the law books, including capital punishment, to make the Bahamas safe for law-abiding citizens. However, he said a homicide rate of 0 is wishful thinking, no matter how many measures the government puts in place. Mr. Dames' comments came days after the country recorded its 78th murder, according to the Tribune's records. There were also 5 murders recorded last week. He said, quote, "We will use everything necessary in the law to ensure that persons who continue to commit crimes are dealt with to the fullest extent of the law, and that includes capital punishment. It is on the books, and so it is fair game. It's not something we have to put there. It is already there. It just needs to be enforced. We cannot have a lawless society, and it's our job as the government to introduce new policies to enforce old ones to make sure everyone is safe," end quote. In February, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, while in opposition, said unless the government is willing to enforce the death penalty, criminals will continue to ravage our country and keep citizens in fear. Dr. Minnis said the country is losing the battle to the criminal element and more serious measures need to be taken. The Minnis administration is eyeing increased savings. This, according to Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest. Mr. Turnquest said this will be realized by identifying duplicate government programs, cutting overpriced public contracts, and eliminating wastage. He told reporters each ministry will be mandated to present the details of its spending reductions to the government before the next budget communication in June. On Wednesday night, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced a variety of conservative fiscal measures, including a 10% cut in spending in all government ministries and no new public sector hiring. In his first televised national address as the nation's leader, Prime Minister Minnis also said there will be no renewal of contracts for salaries that exceed $100,000 per year. He said he will ensure his ministers adhere to their budgets and to financial constraints. He also announced a reduction in government vehicles as part of a new era of financial discipline. When asked about this on Thursday, Mr. Turnquest said, "We anticipate that over the year we will achieve a 10% reduction in the recurrent expenditure of every ministry. That is not something that you can say today. I'm cutting 10%, and that's it. This will go across the year and with the goal that the budget that each ministry has been allocated. They now have to go and reassess where they are going to find 10%. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com. Like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242.